Good afternoon and aloha. It's another lovely Sunday here in beautiful Hawaii, up on the Mauka side, just overlooking Pearl Harbor and such. From Joe in Military Muscle Might, Hawaii. I'm going to do a little background today because I'm doing injury avoidance, mitigation, recovery type series now. As many of you know, I've sustained a lot of injuries throughout my military and heavy lifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding career. So my intent these days is not to put on massive amounts of muscle. My joints wouldn't be able to handle it. In fact, I have injuries in my now I have my left clavicle, the shoulder where it interconnects with the biceps, so the front part, the anterior portion, and the sits muscles associated with that. I had that happen a long time ago before my second bodybuilding contest, back when I was a brand new captain in the Air Force back in the 90s, on the right side. So I know exactly what this injury is. I have the long-term problems that are really important to address, which is why I can't lift or do heavy bench press anymore. I'll turn it a little bit towards the bench so you guys can see my room, my home facility a little better. Lat pull down machine is here. And right hip, both knees, particularly my left. I was actually hit by a vehicle one time when I was extremely tired. Maybe once, at least twice in Cambodia. I was also hit, I think, both on the left leg and left knee in particular. So I have those all my lower back. Right is worse than left, but I can feel my left creeping up to the extent that I had a hard time getting out of bed during my last contract and getting onto the base and working as a civilian contractor for the highest command in the Pacific, which is pretty high visibility. So that I had to be very careful, and I had to mitigate that. I've gotten a lot of good tips. One of them that I've mentioned in the past, many of my clients, is doing somebody blasting their radio outside there on the street. But one that the best one that I've gotten and passed out to clients and everybody, particularly those getting older who are athletes, weightlifters, is to mitigate that lower back problem, which is an extension problem. In other words, the extension of the back, there's the flexion. You do flexion stuff, right? It's just like antagonistic muscle. It's the same thing. You're working the antagonistic muscles, the opposite muscles of the back, which are causing that extension problem, by doing sit-ups. So I'm trying to incorporate those as much as almost I used to do, but I used to do pretty intense number of sit-ups every day of my life, except for Sundays. I've always taken Sundays off throughout 40 years of bodybuilding, 30 years of bodybuilding. So that's what all this is going to incorporate today. And we're going to do push system, which includes in order of priority and largeness and importance, the chest or pectoralis, the delts, and the triceps. And we're going to do them all in one workout. So I have a long periodicity. Those of you that watch my previous videos, and those blogs and those videos to this blog, I went back to early 2025 when I was overcoming some of the back injury issues, which I just spoke about, and I was able to start lifting again. So you saw me in almost pretty good, perfect form, and then I had to wait 6 months because this got worse, and this is a long, slow tear. Now that I'm getting old, I have to be really careful and monitor it. And then it got to the point where I had to stop, even though my bench started increasing again to what was more normal for me, a little bit closer to normal. And then I tried again. I thought it was healing. I tried again. So I was incorporating relatively heavy bench press for me these days, and for me. And then I was still trying to mitigate and work around the injury that way. Now, what I have been doing in the last 3 months is I've taken out bench press completely. I am doing all my push stuff in one day. So I have at least a week periodicity. I've been going a week and a half at least, doing pull systems on opposite 4 days after. So back and biceps and the pull muscles, traps. And so push system is today. I'm going to show you a better way to avoid, when you have an injury, to still be able to work out and retain your muscle mass and not exacerbate your injury. And if you're starting to get to be an old timer like me, an OG, and you know, your life and your whole mentality involves your activity, your quality of life. I just watched my father pass away. It was a horrible thing. So it was actually kind of pathetic to me. I'd say strong man, strong-willed for sure his whole life, stood up after many surgeries all the way up until he was 88. But then that fast decline became very evident. And so diet, everything that I do today is more for longevity, to hopefully avoid some of that very quick decline where I lose quality of life for the last 2 years or the last year and a half. So God rest his soul, I got a lesson from that. So that's what it's about. So always begin with the stretches, and I've done some stretching already, and I've already done like a set of abs, but I'm gonna show you what I used to call I used to say that it was just old guys doing this stuff in the gym, but one of the key things I've learned is help mostly protect my upper body, including the previous tear in the right shoulder. So this is getting the smaller muscles, including those sits, which are in between your bis and tris and your shoulder, and the connective tissue, stretching it out. So I do this for about a minute to include at least 40 or 50 upward rotations like that, keeping your shoulder joint raised and the elbow raised parallel to the ground from the shoulder to the elbow. Just about 30 seconds. 39, 40, 42, 43. Now, warm up on the right side some of my push system, starting with the smallest muscle, the triceps, right? I just have two 2-pound dumbbells here. Little Kinjita dumbbells. Give them a shout out. But I'm also going to stretch the opposite side of the muscle. So I'm going to do some really light, different angle biceps. All right, and then delts. So the push muscle, which we will be working out today somewhat. Definitely is part of the chest, whether you're doing push-ups, which is what I'm going to primarily use for my mass exercise today. And then you'll see some dumbbell modifications to protect my left shoulder and arm. Left side. What you do with the right, you do with the left. This is important to do this one. This is where my injury is healing now, but it took a strong mentality to just leave it alone and not do anything, right? Especially not my favorite upper body exercise, which is my heaviest, the only thing I can still do. I can't squat and do all the things I used to do powerlifting wise. So I'm trying to retain this capability to do it, but in order to do that, I had to stop doing it, which is kind of an opposite mentality. It's about 40 seconds. You can stretch it too, raise it up a little bit, flex your back, flex your lats at the same time you're doing this. 51. Okay, the other way to hit the sits, which is that connective tissue, those end small muscles between the shoulder and the arm, is this way. And you'll see me go like this too. Use against gravity, doing the same range of motion. Okay, same thing again on the left side. Okay, it's a pretty decent warm-up. Now, like I said, we're using body weight to really kind of let this heal more. And I'll have a week after this. I have good nutrition. I've been a lot better lately. I lost a few unsightly pounds. They weren't muscle. I lost muscle previously, but this last week I've been trying to kick a little diet back in again and lose some of the bad weight, the adipose tissue or fat. So warmed up, gonna do the first warm-up set of Pecs, which is just simple, the old military style push-ups. So I'm gonna do it as good as form as I can. Probably not as good as I used to do them. I was perfect with push-ups, and they're gonna be 2 count, just like the military part of me can't get out. It keeps coming out. You can't take it away. So I'll move this to the side. I'm down here on the floor, the mat. My hands are at the right distance, my feet together, my legs, keeping a proper hinge on my back, and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so I did 2, in case you weren't counting, I was 25 2 count push-ups, which is 50 push-ups. Just body weight, that's it. So that's my warm-up to top off the warm-up using the light dumbbells. Next, catch my breath here. Next, we're gonna do some shoulders, and in a way that mitigates damage to the left shoulder or exacerbating that injury. Use 2 different, 2 different dumbbells, and it's just gonna be for balance that I use too. So you'll see me rightfully working my right arm. Again, not as heavy as I used to, but much heavier than my left, which is basically getting kind of a rest and just keeping balance. So keep this one out. I'm gonna do some forward lat raises, which are actually for your delts, anterior delts. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now I'm gonna combine both of them, just again for balance, and just keep that that left joint somewhat equal. And this is a much lighter, it's 5 pounds lighter. Never go higher than 15 with my left right now. Okay, so there's one set. I'm showing you using dumbbells to mitigate using both arms with a barbell and all the kind of things that will hurt. Lucky that didn't land on my feet. That will hurt or exacerbate an injury at a compound joint. All right, do the same thing with triceps. Getting the subordinate muscles, push muscles, subordinate to the chest. Right arm. This is always good form. More parallel your arm is to your head, the more tricep tissue you're getting. But relatively light to the old days, but it's good enough for this recovery type workout. Avoid injury. 10, 12. I always incorporate a little more shoulder at the end, get more power, the bigger muscle. Okay, it's about 18 or so. Now, am I gonna use a 20 or higher for my right arm? No, I'm not. So, yes, you're correct. You got it. So, left arm, raising it above my head is a potential risk to even the slightest injury, or certainly a healing injury on the left side. So, I'm only gonna do a few like this. Lightweight. Okay, that's it. I feel like I could do more. I feel like that's healing pretty well. I don't wanna press it, so to speak, literally and figuratively. Okay, now for that balance, both sides, and then in between the next 2 sets of push-ups, I'm gonna do something different, but this is the most I'm ever gonna do overhead right now until I'm healed, until I know this is healed. Okay, that's it. All right, that's actually the most I've done and the most risk I've taken with the left in this video. I've been lighter than 15, and I haven't really used my left arm that much. I've just done an extra set to even it out. Sit-ups next, the main thing. So this is a combination of crunches, obliques, so it's a little bit of a twist or a torsion to the left and right of the abs to get the obliques, and leg raises for upper abs. You can see my flat bench on the other side of the bench press, I think. And we're gonna knock out a pretty good set, combination set of sit-ups. Excuse my ugly inside of my closet as I squeeze past the barbell. All right, here we go. On 3, ready? Begin. We'll start out with straight up, so-called sit-ups. 6, 12, left, 3, right, 3, 12. Okay, there's 45. 15 on each side, straight. Now I'll do some leg raises. 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 50. Crunches now. 13, 16, 25, 30. Okay, there's 35. Straight up crunches. When I raise my legs up, tend to work the lower abs. Legs back down, knees closer. You are getting more so the upper abs. Obviously left to left, right elbow to left knee, left elbow to right knee gets left and right side respectively. Everything, balancing the body, right? It's not just a bodybuilding concept, it's about balance in life and so forth. All right, take a breather here. Just keep talking about what we're gonna do for the rest of the workout. So in 30 minutes, I have a good viable video for you that's just good enough to get you through a week or a week and a half, and potentially if you have to take longer, 2 weeks. I've been taking a lot off. It's been very difficult for me because I'm used to working out pretty heavily 3 times a week, and I just couldn't anymore. It would have led to debilitation instead of improvements for me. So now catering to those things that I know I have to, injuries that will never go away, and just working around them so I can keep some quality of life in my lifestyle the way it has been. So next set of push-ups. So this is kind of my heavy set. I look at this as my peak set in the bench press, as you've seen in my past posts. So let's see what we can do. I'm not going to limit it to 50. I've been taking creatine. Creatine monohydrate. Creatine in general is produced naturally by your body. It's not steroid or any kind of crazy enhancement, but as you get older, especially, your bone marrow doesn't replace that creatine for white muscle, fast twitch muscle fiber. And so everything you do uses creatine for that energy process and to make your quick twitch muscles work, your white muscle fiber. So creatine should help me get through 3 pretty good sets of push-ups. Let's see what we can do. Again, 2 count. On my count, begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 10. That's about it. 27 2 count gives us 54 total. Not the old stud horse days or 200 at a time, but very good for right now, and to help keep some chest muscle and the upper body overall in good shape. So we've done 2 sets of the big prime mover exercise, which covers all 3 of the push muscles, major push muscles that I talked about. Now, in between, gonna work the subordinate muscle groups again. So again, another set, dumbbells, mitigating pressure on the left side. And this time, I'm not going up at all. Even though that's the peak concept that I've always advocated, it's not the purpose of today's workout, or if you're injured. So I'm gonna grab 20, actually 15, I'm gonna go down and just do really good form. All right, balance on the left side, 15 on the right. So about 7 pounds, whatever, 5 pounds on the left. All right, hold this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm gonna do lateral delt coming out to the side. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm gonna do posterior real delt. Bend over, straight up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so covered all around my left delt and my right delt. My left delt, the injury is, do the same thing with 7 pounds. Actually, I'm only gonna go to the front. I might do a couple on this side because the further your arm gets out, the more leverage and the further away from the center of your body it is, you have more chance of risking tears. That's why I've always done wide grip bench press. And over the years, it just aggravates that area of between the shoulders and arm. So just straight up, keep my arm close by. This is the best I can do working out the left side right now. I gotta keep this mentality. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, there's 15. All right, let's do some movement there. Try to get some blood flowing in there as best as possible. That's the whole problem with the connective tissue. It just won't heal. I've had so many muscle injuries, and they still have cleavage points which can recur, but they've been naturally healed by my body because blood flows to the muscles. So pretty much able to cope with anything I could 10 years ago in the muscles, but in the joints, it's not the case. Quick triceps, then we'll come up on our 3rd set of push-ups, and that's it. Again, fortitude, not to be macho, anti-macho. Not to push yourself, not to try to impress yourself or anybody else, or even more importantly, yourself. Because that's the thing in life that we should do, is compete with ourselves to be better. But you have to kind of have an opposite mentality of that as you get older, to age gracefully and to be able to really maintain. I'm almost 60 years old now, So I have to start thinking about that. At 58, I'll be 59 in June. And this is January right now. I don't know when I'll be posting this. Hopefully I'll be pretty much, never be fully recovered, but pretty much recovered on my left shoulder. All right, so triceps. All right, I'm gonna keep really strict with just the 7 pounds or whatever this equates to. Super light. Just getting some blood in there into the upper tri, or lower tri, by the elbow rather. It's in that position now. Okay, you see how far I'm coming down. The farther you come down, the better it is, right? The more range of motion, the more muscle tissue you get. There's about 17 or 20 on the right side. So left side, very careful. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna be very careful, lightweight only. Now, to finish up triceps with some balance, I'm gonna press down, keeping my arms close into my body and working the outer head of the triceps, that horseshoe. And that's with, very simply, I'll aim this towards the lat pull-down machine, which will be used as a triceps extension downward. So I'm pressing down, press downs. Lightweight, I got about, what is that? 15, 30 pounds total. Not much, but perfect for recovery and injury workout. Okay, about 15 of those. What's next? Yes, you got it. I'm gonna do some sit-ups. So, sit-up crunch obliques series, just like I did last time. And this is gonna be my last one. Very key, probably the most important thing that I do now, resistance-wise, because it keeps me able to get out of bed and hopefully not go back into that situation where my back is in severe pain for several days, right? Which has happened to me many times now. Always sit-ups, always incorporated. And hopefully with cardio. All right, here we go. Wait. This time we'll only do about 50. 7, 9, 12, 15, 2, 10, 25, 6, 35, 6, 8, 9, 40. Finishing set of crunches. 12. Lower abs. Okay. Legs up. Sorry. Legs up. Get more lower abs. Leg raises. When you're on the triceps stand-up machine, where people do chest presses for lower chest, and they also do triceps. When you do that, or you're hanging and you do leg raises, that's always lower abs. All right, last set, coming up on 30 minutes here. I'm gonna try to keep it to that. Stretch the chest a little more. Next week we'll incorporate a set of dumbbell incline press. I did that last time, actually about a week and a half ago. Last time I did a push routine workout. But today we're gonna skip it. We did enough. Last set of push-ups. This will be it. And rest and eat. Ooh. Be careful with my knee. All right. Here we go. 2 count. Military style. Good form. Body weight. The push-up. On my count. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Really feeling it now. A lot of burn in my muscles. So it counts. 18, 19. I was gonna try to go for that lucky 21, which would have been 42 total, but we stopped at 40, just because we have pretty good muscle exhaustion. So even with the creatine, it's gonna happen, and I'll get better and better as this heals, and I can do more. That's it for this week. God bless. Aloha. Be healthy, happy, and wise.